Out of anger, Bryan Mbeumo'S apology letter following disastrous Manchester United debut. In the aftermath of Manchester United's narrow 1-0 defeat to Arsenal on the opening weekend of the 2025-26 Premier League season, all eyes should have been on the tactical battle between Ruben Amorim's new-look United side and Mikel Arteta's disciplined Arsenal. Instead, the headlines were stolen by a moment of emotional collapse inside the Old Trafford dressing room, when new signing Bryan Mbeumo, overwhelmed with frustration and disappointment, smashed a television used for tactical analysis. The incident immediately became the focal point of post-match discussions, eclipsing even the match itself, and forcing Mbeumo to issue a lengthy public apology in which he acknowledged his mistake and pleaded for forgiveness. The episode has sparked intense debate among pundits, supporters, and former players about the pressures faced by footballers in the modern game. For United fans, it was an unsettling reminder that the path back to the top of English football remains fraught with challenges, even with new signings and a fresh managerial philosophy. For Mbeumo, it was a jarring introduction to life under the spotlight at Old Trafford, and a personal ordeal that may define his early months at the club. A frustrating debut. The sense of anticipation at Old Trafford before kickoff was palpable. After years of inconsistency, United's hierarchy had entrusted Ruben Amorim with the task of restoring stability and identity. His arrival had been accompanied by significant transfer activity, with Bryan Mbeumo, signed from Brentford, seen as one of the key additions to inject dynamism, versatility, and pressing intensity into United's forward line. Alongside him came Matheus Cunha, another signing who was expected to provide both goals and creativity. Fans turned up in full voice, optimistic that this season would mark the beginning of a true resurgence. Yet football rarely follows a predictable script. Against Arsenal, United struggled to impose themselves. Possession was often wasted, attacking moves broke down under pressure, and the defensive lapse that allowed Ricardo Calafiori to score from a corner proved decisive. For Mbeumo, the match was personally agonizing. He had opportunities to showcase his pace and decision-making on the flanks, but either the final ball lacked precision, or Arsenal's defense closed him down before he could make an impact. On one occasion, a promising counter-attack ended with him overhitting a pass to Rasmus Højlund, drawing groans from the crowd. Another saw his curling shot fly narrowly wide of the far post. Each missed opportunity compounded his frustration, and by the final whistle, the weight of expectation seemed to crush him. The dressing room incident. What happened next was described by insiders as a moment of madness. The atmosphere in the dressing room was already tense. Amorim delivered his post-match assessment with a mixture of criticism and encouragement, urging his players to take responsibility but also reminding them that it was only the first game of a long season. Yet for Mbeumo, the sting of disappointment proved too much. Witnesses reported that as highlights of the match began to play on a large television used for post-game analysis, Mbeumo's body language grew visibly agitated. When one replay showed his wayward shot in the second half, he erupted. In a sudden outburst, he struck the television with enough force to shatter the screen. The room fell silent, players exchanging shocked glances while staff rushed to defuse the situation. It was a startling contrast to the quiet professionalism Mbeumo had displayed in training since joining the club. Known at Brentford for his work ethic and humility, the incident appeared to be entirely out of character. Yet in the emotional cauldron of elite football, even the most composed athletes can snap under the wrong circumstances. The apology letter. Within 24 hours of the match, Mbeumo took the unusual step of releasing a written apology addressed to teammates, staff, and supporters. The tone of the letter was contrite and reflective. It was a moment of weakness, he admitted. I let my emotions get the better of me, and I deeply regret my actions. This is not who I am as a player or as a person. I am proud to represent Manchester United, and I understand the responsibility that comes with wearing this badge. He went on to acknowledge the damage such behavior could cause in the dressing room. I want to apologize to my teammates, the coaching staff, and most importantly, to the fans who support us week in and week out. I understand that my behavior was unacceptable, and I vow to channel my frustration into positive energy moving forward. I will work harder, remain focused, and ensure that my passion is used to help the team, not to harm it. The letter struck a chord with many fans who appreciated his willingness to take accountability so quickly. In an era where players often hide behind carefully managed public relations statements, Mbeumo's words felt raw and unfiltered, evidence of a player determined not to let one mistake define his time at United. Reactions from club and fans. Manchester United's official channels remained quiet on the matter, with no formal disciplinary action announced. However, sources within the club suggested that Amorim had already spoken privately with Mbeumo, emphasizing both the need for discipline and the importance of moving on swiftly. Reports indicated that Amorim did not want to escalate the issue publicly, preferring to treat it as a personal learning moment for the player rather than a scandal. Among Mbeumo's teammates, the response was largely supportive. Senior players, including captain Bruno Fernandes, are believed to have reassured him that everyone makes mistakes and that the best way forward is to prove himself on the pitch. Several players reportedly told him that his passion, if controlled, could be a valuable asset. Fan reactions were more divided. On social media, some supporters empathized with his frustration, pointing out that his anger showed he genuinely cared about the team's success. Others, however, worried about the precedent it set, with a few arguing that such behavior risked undermining squad harmony. The debate also reignited broader discussions about the mental pressures players face, with calls for clubs to provide stronger psychological support. The road ahead. For Mbeumo, the challenge now lies not only in repairing his image but also in demonstrating that he can deliver consistently at the highest level. The next fixture, an away clash with Liverpool at Anfield, offers both risk and opportunity. A strong performance could quickly reframe the narrative, while another poor showing might intensify scrutiny. Amorim's tactical system is built on intensity, pressing, and quick transitions, qualities that align well with Mbeumo's strengths. If he can rediscover the sharpness he displayed at Brentford and during pre-season, there is every chance he could become an essential part of United's attack. The key will be channeling his emotions into determination rather than self-destruction. Former players have weighed in with advice. Some, like Gary Neville, stressed the importance of resilience. Playing for Manchester United comes with immense pressure. You have to accept criticism, you have to accept failure, and you have to bounce back stronger. What matters is how he responds. A broader reflection on pressure in football. Mbeumo's incident is not an isolated story but part of a larger conversation about the emotional toll of professional sport. Elite athletes live under constant scrutiny, with their every performance dissected by fans, media, and pundits alike. A single mistake can dominate headlines for days, while successes are often taken for granted. Sports psychologists often highlight the importance of managing emotions in high-pressure environments. Outbursts like Mbeumo's, while regrettable, can serve as a reminder of the immense strain players endure. In recent years, clubs across Europe have invested more heavily in mental health resources, but incidents like this show there is still work to be done. Conclusion. Bryan Mbeumo's apology letter may have been born out of a mistake, but it revealed something crucial: his willingness to own up to his flaws and strive for better. While smashing a television was an act of anger he will regret, it also underscored the deep sense of responsibility he feels toward his new club. As United push forward into a challenging season, the question is whether Mbeumo can transform this low point into a turning point. If he succeeds, the story of his debut will not be remembered as a scandal but as the moment he learned what it truly means to wear the Manchester United shirt. For now, fans wait for Anfield, for the next chapter, and for Bryan Mbeumo's response on the pitch. The hope is that his fire, when properly directed, will become a source of strength rather than destruction.